I'm the Commissar. We're watching Forged Alliance Forever. And you are in for double the trouble, but triple the fun, as we get some action from the recent Double Allied tournament. What is this, you say? The first thing you will see is that everybody has two comms. What's going on? Well, this is from the recent doubles tournament, and I'll explain the rules in just a moment. But first of all, let's meet our team members. Going up here in the top left position for what is coincidentally hot team, this is Vena. He is 1700 rated and he is Seraphim. He's in orange. And his teammate here is WilloWisppsi, who, with apologies to my fellow caster, I'm going to call Willow just because it's easier that way. He's 2200 rated and UEF, and he's in Burgundy. And I'm noticing immediately that the meta for this with two comms seems to be start with two factories. I'm sure they've all thought it out. Anyway, let's go in and meet the other players while we're at it. This is Sorry No Air, who is 1700 rated and Cybran in dark blue. And last but not least, up here we have Popiska, who we'll call Poppy. He's 2400 rated and he's Cybran in purple. So, what are the rules of this tournament? Every player starts with two commanders. Furthermore, there is shared control after one player dies. So, if, for example, Vena were to die, then both he and Willow would have full control over the units of Willow, which is quite exciting. The other rules are partial share is on to mitigate the bonus that this gives. So when one player dies, their economic units and buildings remain alive, but their military units all die. And finally, SCUs, just plain unupgraded SCUs, none of the presets, can be built at your HQs. So those are the tournament special rules. Now let's have a look at the map. The map is Adaptive Tabula Rasa, which some of you may be familiar with. There are these big clutches of reclaim in the middle, and there's these cheeky little wrecks and naval yards to pick up. And you can get across here and here, and then there are these passageways across the middle. But the key thing that we're going to have to focus on at the start is this big heap of reclaim. Now, Vena is a little slower in getting his comm out, or comms plural, out than pretty much everyone else. First to the reclaim is Willow, who's getting just straight in there as you might expect. Will that give him an advantage in the reclaim war? We're going to have to see a little bit later. Noair, however, is on his way to contest this area, and he's going to get stuck in with Willow shortly. Up over here, we have both of Poppy's comms, and they are sucking all this reclaim up long before Vena's anywhere near, and these couple of tanks belonging to Vena are just going to get shot up. But back over here, where we can see Willow and Noair, Willow's comms are both here now, so are Noair's, but only one of them's arriving first. Will Willow continue trying to suck up the reclaim, or will he dedicate a little bit to firepower? Well, I'd expect him to mostly be sucking up reclaim and only shooting when he's walking between the bits of reclaim, and that does seem to be what's happening, while Noair seems to have one comm focusing on the reclaim while the other focuses on shooting. There he goes. He's picking it up now. And both Poppy and Willow sharing the mass that they're picking up with their allies. Up here, Poppy has split his comms, one to get the mass in the middle and one to keep picking this up. It'll get him more reclaim, but it is a risk, as it means that Vena could swarm in, but he's not. Vena's just staying back with his comms, using one to assist the other onto the gun upgrade. However, this is quite exciting. Having denuded this area entirely, both Willow and No Air are coming across to take the middle, and there's one, just one, of Poppy's comms there. Now, the comm advantage is 3v2 in favour of what I'm going to call Coal Team. Again, focusing on reclaim here, but Willow is trying to take out one of Poppy's comms, and he's got help from Vena. But now Willow's taking a bit of damage because there are still 3 comms here to 2. And what's this? Willow has control K'd both his comms, taking out both of Nowhere's comms and one of Poppy's comms. That is wild. It does mean that Vena inherits all his stuff, but the military units die. I'm going to call this player Vena going forward, but remember that Willow does also have control over these units because of the shared units rule. But it does mean that we have got 1 comm versus 2 now on the field, and all Hot Team has to do is take out this comm, and they've won. And this comm already has gun, this comm's getting it, and this comm is naked, so this could be an early victory. Would I cast a game with a victory in just 7 minutes? Apparently not. Poppy is walking away and Vena chooses not to take the fight. And this could be why. This is quite a big run by coming up here from Poppy, and Vena's going to have to defend against it. But Vena's not being idle with the aggression himself. He's sending forward a few of these Zooies. He might take out a couple of bits of eco, but he hasn't got anywhere near the magnitude of this. Vena is defending with point defense, but that's quite a lot it's got to defeat. It'll be good though, because there's no arty in here that I can see, and so this point defense will get a lot of work done. However, I do think we've got to watch both these things. So up here we have Poppy running by, and this is looking good. They've already taken out this point defense, but Vena is pushing in the south, and remember, he's got a gun comm here and Poppy is naked, so this could be a big swing in his favour. And he's also got these Zooies coming down here where there's no military in defence as yet, but look at all the eco he's losing, and look how Poppy is splitting up his units. That's very good, so that these gunships, which are Serra Vulthul gunships, they're essentially T2.5, they can't all focus, they have to split up and take out all these separate raids, doing all that separate damage. And here's a drop coming in from Poppy. Is it going to land? Ooh, no, it's taken out by the Inties. That is pretty brutal. And the gunships have cleared up the units over there, but there's still these 2 tanks hiding out. And meanwhile, Vena is really getting stuck in with this gun comm, and his other comm, also a gun comm, is coming in to support, and Poppy is just running away. So here's Vena, and there's an HQ here, and I think Vena might be able to take it out. He's really getting damage done. However, I am keeping the mini-map on those 2 little tanks, because I think there's still a lot they'll do before Vena actually notices. And look at that, they're already taking out more eco there, because Vena is bringing in all his gunships. I think he's going on a snipe on Poppy. He's seen the comm. He targets the anti-air territory they're building. He targets the comm. That's 4 Vulthul gunships, but the Inties, not ASF, so we're nowhere near ASF tech. The Inties from Poppy are gonna shoot them down. He's down to half health, and meanwhile he's defending against this comm with T2 point defense, and this comm is actually taking a load of hits, but so is Poppy. And we can see that they're fighting this T2 mix now, and I think they're going to take it out. But all eyes on Poppy's comm as another gunship comes in, and there is now into support from Vena as well, but Poppy survives, and Vena, on half health with this comm, is coming into support. Where's his other comm? Well, his other comm is staying back here. And those the two tanks are still at it. Isn't it great? But we'll look at them later and zoom out now, so we can get an overview, because we'll notice there's also tanks down here. And we have to keep an eye on this comm, which is just charging in. And if we thought Poppy was getting eco damage up here, as we saw on the mini-map, well, look at this. Look at all the eco that he is losing as Vena's comm comes charging in. This is great. I love a bit of aggression when you know you can afford to lose one comm, because you got another one over here. And Poppy is forced to flee. Poppy runs all the way back here, and he's bringing out fire beaters in defense. My loyal viewers, we have fire beaters in defense, and I love it. I absolutely love it. Because remember, oh, look at all that health he's regen though, thanks to his 4 ranks in veterancy. That's brutal, but the first fire beater hits, and there are more on the way. As Poppy continues his retreat and Vena's comm pursues, but Firebeater after Firebeater is charging in and going for that comm. Here comes the third, and there's a fourth, and there's a fifth. They are swarming that comm, but Poppy really has to watch out, and another gunship snipe could do the damage. We can see gunships massing here on the minimap. We can also see T3 land units being brought up, but this comm is still on half health, and it's still advancing, and Poppy is still having to run. The Firebeaters continue swarming in, and suddenly Vena's comm is down into the red. And here comes a drop with the T3 units. Will it be in time to save Vena's comm? There are rhinos here as well, and they're firing. He's only got 400 hit points left, but the Titans run in. Another Firebeater, another 2 Firebeaters. I don't think he's going to escape. The Titans shoot one, but the other one comes in, and boom, and one of Vena's comms goes down. But Poppy has to worry about these Titans. Now this is Vena's only remaining comm in the water, and there's a lot of T2 units swarming around, but there are Titans here. More to the point for Poppy, there are Titans right here, and he has to worry about them. Remember, his comm is naked and these are T3, but beautiful Firebeatering and overcharging takes them down, and I think he's going to do it. He's being pung, but the Titans are all dead, and Poppy survives. That's beautiful. However, we do have gunship defense, we have Titan defense over here, and Poppy's advance may be held back. However, while all that's been going on, we have a beautiful, it's not so much a run by as just a constant stream of rhinos pushing in here, where not so long ago Titans weren't. Now, Vena has brought a couple across, and he's also got gunships defending. Will these rhinos get any damage done? And Vena still hasn't had a chance to rebuild here, because we also have a stream of Wagners coming across the water here, and just picking off these engineers. So this is great. However, Poppy is not the only one committing acts of aggression, and here's quite a significant force of T2 and T3 from Vena pushing in to Poppy's south. And I think it's going to get some eco damage done, because these rhinos don't feel like they're enough to take out this entire force. And meanwhile, let's take a moment to remember that I keep saying Vena, but this is now both Vena and Willow controlling orange, while similarly both Poppy and No Air are controlling purple. So this is a doubles tournament, and despite the fact that with one comm each and one player each it looks like a 1v1, it is not. And look at this revenge. All of these were upgraded for Poppy, and he is losing them, and he is losing them fast. And Vena takes the eco lead despite all this damage that we can see on the minimap up here, because of the damage he's managed to inflict with this Titan charge. However, we do have Renegades defending from Poppy, and we've got this army still swarming in behind, but this is still a big army, and I am pretty sure that Poppy has to worry about it. Could it, in fact, be a threat to Poppy's comm? Because he is still naked and he's still only got 6,000 hit points on him. Poppy seems to agree he's moving his comm away from the advancing Titans, but the Titans have stopped. Whichever player was controlling them is now looking elsewhere, and they're just being shot at for free by these renegades. They need to get them moving or we're going to have a problem. This is where one of them's looking. We have a gunship raid heading up here, trying to stop the Wagner creep by just destroying the factory and its supporting mexes. And there's a bunch of gunships here, 5 of them, and we're not seeing anything as yet from Poppy to stop them. Okay, he brings in his inties, and they haven't actually killed this factory. They've just gone for some eco damage. How are those Titans doing in the south? Well, they're all being shredded by the gunship, so Poppy doesn't have to worry about that right now. But thanks to this Titan raid and this gunship damage... Oh, I was expecting Vena to be ahead, and now he is again, but is he having power trouble? Yes, he is. That's why he's not ahead. He's about tied, despite the fact he's having a huge power store. However, he has to be worried about this. We now have T3 on the field from Poppy as well, and his last comm, though he is armed with a gun, isn't armed with like gun, nano, etc., in a position to stop T3, and so a push this size must worry him. But he does now have Percy's on the field, and that should be enough to defend. Back down here we have the gunships raiding in Poppy's main base, but back come the inties and take it out. Now, Poppy wasn't too keen on the Percys and Titans defending this push, so he's just swung it south, and there is some upgraded eco here, like these two T2 mexes, that he could hit if he can get away from this pursuing force. And his rhinos are shooting up these mexes. These are the ones he really needs to hit, but he does know they're upgraded, because you can see that they're grade for him as if dead, which he will know means that they've changed colour, but a quick Titan drop from Vena and Poppy's last rhino goes down, so good defence from Vena. He hasn't lost too much eco to that. He still hasn't had a chance to rebuild up here now, though, and the Wagners, they're still coming across. He's put up 1 T1 point defence, but is that really going to stop these Wagners? I don't think it is. However, we finally have Titans who look like they're on their way to defend and maybe retake this area. Meanwhile, more Titans have been dropped. 1 was dropped to stop the raid we saw earlier, but 2 were dropped over here. And they have got some eco kills against Poppy, but Poppy is now really massing the renegades, and he's going to be able to defend with those, no questions asked. We're massing Corsairs here as well. Poppy has a decent force that's pushing up in the north, but has it really... I'm not seeing any AA in there apart from these ones coming in now, and I think he may be overbuilding in response, but until now it didn't have a response to these. I said Corsairs, they're actually Nothers, of course, because Vena is Sarah. And the Inties coming as well. The Nothers are not going to survive, but they do still get a few more hits in on these Loyalists from Poppy. But the Loyalists have encountered Percys, and Percys are one of the best units for countering T3, and so those Loyalists go down pretty quickly. But there are nonetheless bricks coming in from Poppy. He's not going to let up the pressure, and so we're going to see a consistent fight going down in the middle. He's getting serious about getting stuck in here. And I do see forces massing out here across the pond for Vena, and he's bringing them back to try and cut them off. You remember how all the reclaim was here in the middle? There must be heaps there now. Look at that. Somebody needs to get stuck in there with NGs, and it looks like we have just that going on from Poppy, both here and here. Is Vena thinking of the same? Yes, he is. He's got T2 NGs coming in to do his reclaiming, so they're both going for good sucking up. Slight eco lead for Vena and Willow. They're not that far ahead though, and Poppy has collected more mass in total throughout the game. and more T3 units are swarming in. This is where we have to watch. But we can't only focus here, because look at this. Sneaky Wagners coming across the water from Poppy. There is T2 point defense here though, and that will be enough for Vena to defend, unless we have a much larger force coming across. Perhaps a few bricks are called for from Poppy to take this out. Poppy's redirecting his Wagners over here to see if he can find any more sneaky ways in, and he might here. There's a triad going up here, but it's not up yet, and these mexes look exposed. Vena getting up to T3 air now, which could be nice. As Seri, he doesn't get access to T3 gunships, but he could be using strats perhaps to defend against these bricks. And he's maintaining the pressure, but let's have a look down in the south here. Look at this. He's got his own amphibious tanks, Riptides, and they are coming in to try and pick up some eco, and they are getting eco kills. However, Poppy is defending with bricks, so they won't get much more done, but he is going to have to take precautions. Perhaps some turrets here would be a good choice. How's the fight going in mid? Well, it looks about even Stevens, but this is a big force of Percy's from Vena, and that might swing it. Oh, but those Wagners we saw coming up here, they haven't hit here. They've just gone straight on for a run-by, and they've taken out some mass here. But still, Vena has the eco lead. He's well ahead of Poppy, and that could make all the difference. The Percy's made a push, but they're being driven back. Poppy thinks he's got enough bricks and enough in support, and it looks like he may be right. Vena is falling back. And there are also Corsairs coming out in defense for Poppy. Good little brick raid up here. That's definitely going to get work done. I don't know how much it's actually going to do, because despite Vena having the eco lead, these are still all T1. He just hasn't built them up. And so the bricks can kill them, but that's only 10 mass, those 5 mexes. And even if he kills those, that's still, we're only talking like a couple of T2 mexes. All the mass production for Vena is back here in his base. And back here. The fight in mid continues, and it looks like Poppy's got enough to swarm it. That eco from Vena, it's still huge. What's he doing with it? Where's it going that's going to stop this unstoppable, possibly, push from Poppy? And it does look like he might be about to break through. He's getting in on Vena's side. This production here is going to go down. These NGs are going to be killed. And Vena is bringing his comm forward again. That feels dangerous at this tech level when he's still only got gun. And he thinks better of it and heads back over there. I think Vena might be trying to wait to mash this ball of Percy's rather than try and defend with a tricker, and that's wise, because it means he'll be able to break through. He's also getting mobile shields in position to support the Percy's. But while that's going on, more brick raids in the south. Here they come. I said bricks will be enough to overwhelm these T2 point defenses, and indeed they are. And this is a quad of T2 capped mexes that are just free for the taking with those 2 bricks, unless Poppy sees them and defends. And he's not going to, because he's going to be worried about this, where bricks are swarming in here. He's defending with his Percy's. In they come. Is that gunship defense I see there? Not yet, it's not. I saw some gunships flying around. Here they are. He's massing them perhaps to go in, but he's going to have lost most of this by the time those gunships do their job. We have one Percy here, and sure, one Percy is good, but this is 2 bricks, and they've already killed 2 mexes. Anyway, back to the middle. The massive Percy's, covered by shields, is doing its work, and the bricks are going to be dying. And we can see on the minimap there that the gunships have joined the Percy in stopping the bricks. But it's done its job. The ecos are now level. And we've got Medusa spam coming in to take out the Percys. It's a good counter to the Percys because of the slow fire rate of the Percys. But it feels like there's still enough Percys to hold. Now, from the benefit of this overview, look at this brutal damage that those bricks did though. That's why the ecos level. Vena needs to rebuild, and he needs to rebuild fast. Anyway, and that's why we've got more bricks coming in. I'm loving these run bys from Poppy. This is great. It's keeping him ahead. He's actually now got a 50-60 eco lead there, and it's all because he's just getting this damage done, and Poppy is not, Venus, sorry, is not in a position to rebuild. And if he can get his hands on this, look at this, there's 20,000 eco in the middle just waiting to be hoovered up now. And if he can get his hands on it, and it looks like he might be able to, then he'll be in a great position. And it's the theme here for Poppy, more bricks coming in pairs, 1 or 2 at a time. They're just keeping Venus eco down. And do you remember we mentioned that rule about SCUs being buildable from HQs? Well, he's done it. He's built an SCU, but you could only build stock SCUs from HQs with this mod. So he's now standing there and upgrading it. We'll find out what he's going to upgrade it to in a bit. I'm expecting something aggressive because this is looking painful as he's lost all his Percys. There's only a couple more coming out now. And this is a lot of bricks, and the gunships will do a bit of work, but now we have T3 air from Poppy, and Poppy is bringing in ASFs. So, 2 can play at this game, and Vena is raiding with Percys, trying to get some eco damage done, but this is a lot of bricks in defense. We have T3 production here from Poppy, but the cliff is saving Poppy, but it's also saving Poppy's mech, so Vena's not taking damage because of the cliff, but he's shooting back at the bricks and not killing the mechs. He could have killed that mechs, and he didn't. And now we have the force is just pushing in southward, ignoring the defense here, and trying to completely wipe out Vena from this southern enclave, and I think he's going to do it. He's going to get utterly raised, and now the heavy units pull back while the Medusa just walk in to finish it off. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I love it. And up top, we're now getting these bricks advancing into positions where they're going to be able to take out some actual eco as opposed to the scattering of T1 we had over here. And sure, we have these Percys in defense, but this bricks has taken out a mechs, and it's going to take a lot of time for these Percys to come and get it. And meanwhile, Poppy is fortifying here with PD and radar to cement his hold on this side of the map, and he's pushing on Vena. He's got gun, and I can't remember what that upgrade is. I think it's like a sort of, what is that upgrade on the SCU? I can't remember, and I'm not going to click in and find out, as this SCU also has gun and is getting another upgrade. Is it the same one? Yes, it is. So we now have 2 Rambo SCUs, a decent amount of Percys and Titans, and we've got triads going up, and that could be enough in defense. And this is where that eco from Vena has been going. He's got himself a chicken, but look at the eco now. Poppy is 100 ahead. That's wild. And it's all thanks to this. We have had attempts to rebuild down here, but now there's nothing to stop this force of bricks just charging in and wiping it out. 2 Percys? That's nothing. And sure, there is T3 production here, but that's more than enough to completely smash that. However, back to the fight in the middle. We have that Rambo com. One of them's dead, but there's still one here. We have another one here. Oh no, that Rambo com's still back here. And he's got shield as well. And the chicken is coming forward. Poppy knows he doesn't want to take that fight. He's falling back. And this is what he's waiting for. He's got a monkey lord nearly complete. Monkey versus chicken, the chicken wins. But I think that Poppy's got enough in support that he is going to be able to take out the chicken if he fights it everything on everything. These SCUs might make the difference though. This one's now being upgraded with shield as well. And this one's stopped to hold ground while this one upgrades, but that does mean that the chicken is going in without their support. However, it can afford to do that while the monkey isn't there. We have a drop coming in. A Percy drops here into the back for Vena, but there's a brick here to fight it. There's T3 production here, and either the brick will kill it or the T3 production will kill another brick. That Percy's not going to get anything done. Poor Vena. And this needs to continue advancing, because if it doesn't, then the monkey, which is now finished, will just come up and join this force, and then that chicken's going to be toast. And where are those SCUs? They're both full Rambo SCUs, but they're just hanging back. They need to be in there, and they need to be doing the damage. Perhaps he's forgotten them. Defensive units go to take out these bricks, and that will be enough, but every unit there is a unit that's not ready to stop the monkey here. As the battle lines are being drawn up in the middle. But there's only one chicken, and while it's here, this entire army, it can just head north. Is Poppy thinking of pushing up here where there's no defense? That could be a killer move. And the monkey laser fires, so Vena knows that Poppy has that monkey there. He knows he's going to need to stay and defend. And this is a lot of Percys. Why are these SCUs still back here? Please, my dude, bring them forward. But he's falling them back. Why is he falling them back? I don't get it. He's made them Rambo SCUs. The monkey is hiding in the water. It doesn't think it can take this, and given how powerful Percys are against experimentals, I think he's right. The chicken pushes forward, but maybe also Poppy is trying to lure the chicken so that he can get it on his side for the reclaim. And don't forget, he's got this army up here. We do see strats now in defense from Vena. And the monkey's falling back. I don't like this army advancing. It's just going to die to all these Percys. They're shielded, they've got a chicken, but the monkey engages, and with it comes a heap of renegades. These Percys are quite closely packed, and the renegades will do well against that because they have blast damage, but they're focusing the chicken. So is the monkey, but the monkey just goes down, and the chicken is still up and running. It's taking damage, but it's dealing damage, and most of what's left here for Poppy is only T1, and these are Percys. So this whole army has to come back to fight. And the chicken is taking the hits, but it's doing the hits. Look at it racking up the veterancy. 31k mass killed. It is doing the work. However, up here, we do have more brick raids going on. We have brick defense down here. Vena's limited now to this tiny corner of the map, and you can see it in his eco, which is now 150 behind. Oh, that's one of the SCUs. Look at this. This is amazing. We have an SCU dropping in. Let's watch both that and the chicken. And here's the chicken. Here's the SCU with it. Okay, well, that was a bit of a no-show. Boom. The SCU and the brick go down. That was an expensive loss for Vena. But the chicken is still doing damage. The chicken's into the red, but it gets a rank of veterancy, and that gets it back into the yellow. Nice. Well, it's back down into the red, but look at all the damage it's done. 46,000 mass. That is amazing. It has definitely, I think, paid for itself. Down it goes, but look at the damage it's wrought, and the Iron Storm has yet to do work. But what's been going on the other side? Well, oh, that's been happening. Little attempts to raid coming up here. We have chicken, says Vena to Willow, and he's almost right. They almost have a chicken. Have we got more? We've got a mega on the way and another monkey already from Poppy, who's putting that eco to good use. The mega's not finished yet, though, so there's a chance that with this horde of Percys and the chicken, Vena might be able to defend. The monkey comes forward. And it is taking a lot of damage from those Percys. Remember, Percys are great against experimental units. But there's enough Medusa supporting it, as well as its own massive monkey laser, that although it goes down into the red, the monkey survives and gets a rank of vet. Nice. I don't think it would have survived without that veterancy, but it got the veterancy and it survived. Meanwhile, quick look down here and we can see that Poppy is taking, though he's having power trouble, look at that store, he's taking control of the area that he raided to death down here. The monkey draws back, it doesn't want to take the fight, and you can see why. It's going to fall back and probably wait for that mega. It's seen this chicken coming, and a monkey that's in the red, not going to be able to take a chicken, not even with all this Medusa support. Meanwhile, up here, factories going down from Poppy. I think they're just reclaiming, they'll probably know they're Medusa factories. Have you got anything coming out of them? Not yet. But his raids continue. And he's got these naval yards down here, which they're only producing engines at the moment, but look at all the T1 production he's throwing up. So the chicken's waiting again. I don't know if that's wise, given that Vena needs to do damage sooner rather than later. And look at that eco difference now. We're looking at 300 eco difference. That's huge. Is Poppy even still having power trouble? He is. Imagine what it would be without that. That's massive. And I'm not sure what Vena can do here to pull this back. Well, that's one idea. Look at the spend. He's building teleporter, but he's Sarah, not Cybran. So he can't get the monkey laser. What's he planning? He's only got gun at the moment. Is he going to try and do a sneaky tactical missile base? He could do that up here, for example. That would be interesting. Tactical missiles up there. Shoot the comm. No TMD from that direction, if he's lucky. And the longer he waits, the harder it's going to get. Look at the eco. It's wild. The crab's now out, and the crab beats the chicken. His wave of scouts will see that crab. And the monkey's been healing up all this time. He's going to take the fight because he doesn't have a choice. Meanwhile, bricks are actually getting up to the base here, and they're taking out these mexes, which is going to be painful. And I mean, what's he got in defense? The answer is essentially nothing. This brick could, if it wanted, push in and get some real damage done. The chicken comes in to take the mega, but the monkey sweeps round behind. The chicken gets a couple of shots at the monkey. I think it's going to take it out. It is. Nice. But it's already on half health. The mega's on full health. The chicken is being swarmed by Medusa. The chicken goes down, and that will be that. We've still got the tele upgrade going down. The brick's been stopped by point defense, and we have a horde of strats. Is that the plan? Is it going to be a strat snipe? I think there's enough ASF from Poppy to take it, and he's scouting well, so I think he's going to see it coming. The chicken's energy signature has taken out a few of the bricks, but there's still this swarm of Medusa. There's still these bricks coming in. The teleporter is done, and Vena is going for the splash upgrade on the gun. Poppy, meanwhile, starts cloaking, which will definitely help defend against the splash upgrade when he's got these bricks around him. Will he finish it before the teleport goes off? The splash completes. Meanwhile, though, we've got the straps coming round the outside. But they've been seen. They've been seen and they get picked off. But I see a teleport signature. This is going to end the game one way or the other. As in comes the teleport. And Poppy is cloaking. He's routed to the spot because he's on the upgrade. I don't think he's noticed. And he opens fire. Poppy cancels the cloak and he runs away. But he's just got enough damage to deal it out. And he's taking damage. Which one's going to die first? The shield comes up though, and the shield is blocking Vena's shots. And that's going to make the difference. The shield blocks Vena's shots, and Vena goes down, though Poppy is in the red from the splash gun. And Poppy and No Air win the game against Vena and Willow. What an insane game. That was wild. Don't forget, during the end of that game, both Willow and Vena had control of the orange team, and both Poppy and No Air had control of the purple team. And I wonder who was controlling what at that time, but it all came down at the end to, did that one little shield come back up? If it weren't for that, Poppy would have died, maybe they both would have died. Anyway, that was amazing. Tell me what you thought about the doubles play with the 2 comms each in the comments below. While you're down there, don't forget to like, subscribe, and obey. I'm the Commissar. I will see you next time.